That sense when someone is chosen by God, there is a quiet bond between the living world and the people God sets apart, and you may have felt it long before you had language for it. You are walking somewhere with your mind full, thinking about bills, memories, unanswered prayers. And then a dog stops and stares as if it recognizes something older than your face. A cat appears and follows you without hesitation, settling near you like it has known your grief for years. A bird flies too close in a way that makes time slow down for a second and your spirit become alert. In moments like that, it can feel as though creation is leaning in, as if a message is being carried not in words, but in presence. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Because what you are about to understand is not superstition, and it is not random pattern chasing. It is a deeper way of seeing the world, where your life is not separate from creation, and where the creatures around you sometimes respond to what heaven has already placed inside you. You do not have to force this understanding. In fact, the more you try to strain for signs, the more easily you miss the gentle ones. What usually happens is much simpler. You begin noticing that certain animal encounters seem to come during specific emotional moments. A bird appears when you are praying silently. A dog becomes unusually calm around you on a day when your heart is full of turmoil. A butterfly lingers when you are standing in the middle of a hard transition, unsure whether you are ending something or beginning something. These encounters can feel small on the outside, but inside they leave a mark. They create a pause. And that pause matters because chosen lives are often noisy lives. You carry responsibility, spiritual pressure, hidden battles, and long seasons of misunderstanding. You are used to pushing through. So when creation causes you to pause, that pause can become a doorway. This is where many people misunderstand what it means to be chosen. They think being chosen by God always looks dramatic, public, and obvious. They imagine fire from heaven, instant recognition, or some grand announcement that removes all doubt. But much of your life as a chosen person unfolds in subtler ways. It unfolds in restraint, in endurance, in discernment, and in the strange comfort of being noticed by what cannot flatter you. Animals do not care about your image. They do not respond to your title, your social standing, or your performance. They respond to energy, presence, rhythm, stillness, fear, peace, agitation, and trust. In that sense, they can become mirrors that expose what is happening beneath your surface, and at times witnesses to the grace resting on you. You may already know this without admitting it. There have been moments when an animal's behavior affected you more deeply than a conversation with another person. A pet sat beside you when no one else understood what you were carrying. A stray approached you when you felt invisible. A bird call interrupted your spiraling thoughts at exactly the right moment. You brushed it off, maybe because you did not want to sound strange, maybe because you have trained yourself to stay practical, but your spirit registered it. Part of you knew that the moment was not empty. Part of you knew you had been seen. And this is important for the path ahead, because this message is not about worshipping animals or turning every movement in nature into a coded prophecy. It is about learning reverence and discernment at the same time. God is the source, not the creature. The sign is not the destination. But the Creator has always used creation to get people's attention, to confirm timing, to redirect focus, and to remind the human heart that it is not as alone as it feels. When you begin from that place, your view becomes balanced. You stay grounded and you stay open. You do not become superstitious and you do not become numb. So in this first step of the journey, you are not trying to identify every animal yet. You are training your awareness. You are learning to notice the pattern of your inner state and the timing of what appears around you. You are asking calmer questions. What was I feeling when that happened? What decision was I facing? Was I in prayer, grief, confusion, peace, or transition? Did the encounter produce fear, comfort, warning, or clarity? chosen people often grow in discernment, not because they get louder signs, but because they become more honest observers of their own lives. You are also learning something even more healing here. If animals seem to pause around you, gather near you, or study you in unusual ways, it does not automatically mean you are strange in a negative sense. For many chosen people, that has been a wound since childhood. You felt different. You noticed more. You sensed tension in rooms. You picked up on motives. You felt overwhelmed by noise and drawn to quiet. Sometimes people misunderstood that and made you feel like your sensitivity was a burden. But what if that sensitivity is part of your design? What if your awareness is not a flaw to suppress, but a gift to steward? When creation responds to you, it can become a gentle confirmation that your life carries a frequency of attentiveness, and that attentiveness has purpose. As we move through the 9 animals in the sections ahead, you are going to see that each one points to a different dimension of your calling. Some will reflect protection, some will reflect transformation, some will reflect warning, some will reflect wisdom, discernment, or timing. And one of the most powerful things you can do is resist the urge to rush ahead and label everything too quickly. Let this become a practice of peace. Let it slow your reactions and deepen your listening. The chosen path is not only about receiving revelation, it is also about becoming the kind of person who can carry revelation without fear, pride, or confusion. That is why this opening matters more than it may seem. Before you study the signs, you have to settle your spirit. Before you interpret the encounter, you have to become present enough to receive it. If your mind is constantly racing, every moment feels accidental or threatening. But when you become still, you start to notice that some encounters arrive with a very different weight. They do not demand panic. They invite attention. They do not inflate your ego. They humble you. They remind you that heaven can speak in ways that are quiet enough to protect you from spectacle and clear enough to guide you when you need it most. So if you have been having unusual moments with animals lately, do not dismiss yourself and do not dramatize it either. Bring it into prayer. Bring it into reflection. Let it teach you patience. Let it teach you presence. Let it remind you that if God can use small creatures to interrupt your patterns and call your spirit back to awareness, then you are not wandering as blindly as you feared. You are being guided, sometimes softly, sometimes repeatedly, and often in ways that only make sense when you look back and realize creation kept pausing because heaven had already marked your path. As you stay with this awareness, instead of rushing past it, you begin to understand something that changes the way you read your own life. Animals often respond to what people overlook. People can be distracted by appearances, by confidence, by status, by how polished someone sounds. But animals are rarely impressed by any of that. They read presence before presentation. They respond to rhythm before language. They sense tension, peace and stability, gentleness, fear and trust in ways that bypass performance completely. And if you are chosen, this matters more than you may realize, because much of your journey unfolds beneath the surface long before anyone around you can name it. You may have already lived this pattern many times. In a season when people misread your silence as weakness, an animal became unusually calm near you. In a period when others doubted your direction, a creature kept appearing at strange but meaningful moments, almost like a soft interruption reminding you to pay attention. In moments when you felt spiritually drained and emotionally scattered, the natural world seemed to react to you with unexpected precision. This is not about turning your life into a puzzle where every feather is a prophecy. It is about recognizing that creation can be sensitive to alignment, and chosen people are often being realigned by God in hidden ways. The reason this can feel so personal is because your inner state carries a kind of signal. Not a signal in the dramatic way people imagine, but in the quiet way a room changes when someone peaceful enters it, or the way a child relaxes around a safe person without knowing why. Your spirit, your emotional condition, your level of fear or trust, your degree of internal conflict or surrender, All of this affects how you move through the world. Animals pick up on that. They read your pace, your breath, your hesitation, your openness. They notice whether you are sharp and unsettled or grounded and present. So when certain animals react strongly to you, it can become a real-time reflection of what is happening within you and around you spiritually. This is one reason chosen people sometimes feel deeply seen by animals during seasons of isolation. When you are misunderstood by people, it can be healing to experience a form of recognition that asks nothing from you. An animal does not need your explanation. It does not require you to summarize your spiritual journey, justify your exhaustion, or prove that what you are feeling is real. It simply responds. Sometimes it comes closer, sometimes it stares. Sometimes it lingers in silence. Sometimes it becomes protective. Sometimes it startles you into awareness by appearing repeatedly until you stop and ask, what is changing in your life? In that way, the encounter is not just external, it invites self-honesty, and self-honesty is essential for the chosen path. You cannot grow in discernment if you only look outward. You have to notice your own patterns too. You have to admit when you are anxious, when you are numbing yourself, when you are avoiding a decision, when you are ignoring your own inner warning signs. Animals can become part of that awakening because their behavior often reflects a truth that you are trying to postpone. A restless animal around you may expose your own unrest. A calm one settling near you in a stormy season may remind you that peace is still available even before your circumstances change. A sudden encounter during prayer may confirm that your spirit is not imagining the weight of that moment. The point is not the animal alone. The point is what the moment reveals. This is also where balance becomes important. Some people miss these moments because they dismiss everything as coincidence. Others lose balance because they treat every encounter as a secret code and become consumed with interpretation. You are being called into a steadier way. Notice without obsession. Reflect without panic. Pray without forcing meaning. Let patterns emerge over time. Chosen people grow strongest not by chasing signs, but by becoming stable enough to recognize confirmation when it comes. And stability is part of spiritual maturity. It keeps you from fear and it keeps you from fantasy. You may be wondering why this theme matters so much in a message about the chosen. It matters because one of the hardest parts of being chosen is the hidden phase, the part where you are being shaped before your assignment becomes visible. During that season, you often crave reassurance but receive very little applause. You may be doing deep spiritual work in private, while outwardly your life looks ordinary. You may be learning restraint, healing old wounds, developing boundaries, and carrying burdens no one sees. In that kind of season, small confirmations become precious. Not because you are desperate for magic, but because your soul needs reminders that your path is still being witnessed by heaven, even when it is overlooked by people. Creation has a way of offering those reminders without feeding your ego. That is part of the beauty of it. If an animal pauses near you, follows you, watches you, or appears at a significant moment, the experience can humble you and comfort you at the same time. It says in its own quiet way, "Slow down, pay attention, you are not invisible." For a chosen person, that can be deeply restorative. It can interrupt the old lie that says nothing is happening unless it is dramatic. It can retrain your spirit to recognize God's faithfulness in subtler forms, and that kind of recognition builds endurance. You are also learning here that discernment is relational, not mechanical. You do not become discerning by memorizing a list and assigning fixed meanings to every creature. You become discerning by growing in prayer, presence, and honesty. The same animal can mean different things in different moments, depending on the timing, your inner condition, and the surrounding circumstances. That is why this section is about how animals read spiritual frequency rather than jumping immediately into rigid symbolism. Your life with God is not a vending machine. It is a relationship. Guidance often comes through patterns, peace, conviction, repetition, and timing, not just through one isolated event. So as you continue, begin practicing a simple rhythm. When an unusual encounter happens, do not rush to post it, label it, or explain it away. Pause. Breathe. Ask what was happening in your heart right before it occurred. Ask whether the moment brought comfort, warning, clarity, or redirection. Write it down if it stays with you. Watch for repetition, especially during seasons of transition. Over time, you will begin to notice that your discernment becomes less frantic and more refined. You stop needing every moment to shout. You start recognizing when something carries weight and when something is simply part of ordinary life. That is growth. And this growth prepares you for what comes next, because the animals we are about to walk through are not random choices. Each one reveals a different layer of your calling and your formation. Some show you protection around your path. Some expose hidden energy in your environment. Some confirm transformation already happening in you. Some sharpen your discernment in dark seasons. Some speak to courage, gentleness, warning, or release. But before any of that can help you, you need this foundation firmly in place. The chosen life is not just about being seen by people. It is about learning how to recognize what responds to the presence of God within you. So let this settle into you before we move forward. You are not being asked to become strange or superstitious. You are being invited to become attentive. You are not being told to fear every sign. You are being trained to notice what carries peace, what carries warning, and what calls you back into alignment. And if you have felt lately that animals seem to notice you in unusual ways, perhaps it is not because you are imagining things, and not because you need to panic or glorify the encounter, but because your life is entering a season where subtle confirmations matter. The world around you may be quieter than people's opinions, but it is not silent. Creation often responds first, and if you listen well, you may realize it has been gently teaching you how to read the movement of your own spirit all along. Now that you have settled into this foundation of awareness, you can begin to see why dogs are often one of the first and most powerful witnesses on the path of the chosen. There is something about a dog's response that feels immediate, almost unfiltered, as if loyalty itself recognizes what heaven has marked. You may have noticed this in ways you could not fully explain. A dog that is usually restless becomes calm near you. A dog that ignores everyone suddenly watches you with unusual focus. A stray appears at a significant moment and walks beside you for a stretch of road as if assigned to escort, then disappears just as quietly as it came. These moments are easy to dismiss if you are rushing, but when you look closer, they often carry the same pattern we have been building toward: timing, presence, and a quiet form of recognition. Dogs do not just symbolize affection, they often reveal atmosphere. They react to safety and threat, to tension and trust, to gentleness and aggression. They can sense fear in a room before anyone says a word. They can become alert when something shifts, even when people are still pretending everything is normal. That is why their behavior around you can become especially meaningful during seasons when your calling is under pressure. If you are chosen, one of the realities you eventually face is that your path attracts both support and resistance. You are not only called to blessing, you are also called through testing, through spiritual friction, through moments where discernment matters more than comfort. In those seasons, dogs can appear in your story like living reminders of protection, loyalty, and vigilance. You may be in a season right now where your spirit feels stretched. You're trying to move forward, but something keeps tugging at your peace. You cannot always explain it. People around you may say everything looks fine, but inside you sense resistance. This is often where dog encounters become striking. A dog may become unusually protective in your presence. It may position itself between you and someone else. It may bark in a way that seems out of proportion to what is visible. Or in a different moment, it may rest at your feet in complete calm when your mind is racing, almost as if its stillness is lending your nervous system a language your thoughts have forgotten. In both cases, the deeper invitation is the same: pay attention to what your spirit is already sensing. For the chosen, protection is not always dramatic. Sometimes protection looks like interruption. Sometimes it looks like delay. Sometimes it looks like a feeling you could not shake, a route you did not take, a conversation that ended early, or a dog that refused to move until you noticed what was happening around you. That does not mean every barking dog is a prophecy. It means your life may include moments where loyalty in creation mirrors the protective hand of God in ways that are easy to miss if you insist on only recognizing the spectacular. Chosen people often expect divine guidance to arrive with thunder. Yet many times it arrives wearing ordinary clothes in ordinary moments, through creatures that are simply doing what they were created to do while still becoming part of a larger pattern. There is also a healing layer to this. Dogs often respond to the heart beneath your posture. You can be smiling for people and still be exhausted in your soul, and somehow a dog senses the heaviness without needing your explanation. That can be deeply personal for someone who has learned to carry burdens quietly. If you are used to being the strong one, the calm one, the one who keeps going, a dog's unearned trust can feel like a small mercy. It reminds you that your worth is not in performance. It reminds you that presence matters. And for the chosen, this matters because calling can become dangerous when you begin to define yourself only by what you produce. Loyalty from a creature that wants nothing from you can pull you back to something simpler and truer. At the same time, dogs do not only comfort, they also expose. A dog may react differently around certain people, and while you should never build accusations on behavior alone, these moments can sharpen your discernment. You may notice that a dog is consistently unsettled around a person who speaks smoothly but leaves you feeling drained. You may observe that the animal relaxes around someone whose spirit is steady and sincere. Again, the point is not to let the animal make your decisions for you. The point is to let these moments invite honest reflection. Chosen people sometimes override their own discernment because they want peace, approval, or quick clarity. A dog's reaction can become one more nudge that says, slow down and notice what your body and spirit are already registering. This is why dogs fit so powerfully in this journey as guardians of the assigned path. They represent more than companionship. They reflect watchfulness. They reflect loyalty under pressure. They reflect the kind of alertness you need if you are carrying something precious. Your calling is precious. Your peace is precious. Your direction is precious. And the more you grow, the more you realize not every door deserves your energy, not every person deserves your access, and not every opportunity is meant for you. Dogs in their own way model this beautifully. They can be warm and loving, yet they can also be discerning. They can rest deeply, yet remain ready. They can welcome what is safe and resist what feels wrong. That balance is wisdom for the chosen. You may also have memories from childhood that make this section land even more deeply. Maybe dogs trusted you when people did not understand you. Maybe you were the one animals came to naturally, even when you felt awkward around others. Maybe a dog's presence anchored you during a hard season in your home, a season no one fully knew how to talk about. If so, do not rush past that memory. Sometimes God leaves confirmations in your past long before you have language to interpret them. What felt like I'm just good with animals may also have been an early sign of your sensitivity, your calming presence, or the protective grace resting on your life. The chosen path often leaves breadcrumbs behind you, and this may be one of them. As you carry this forward, let dogs teach you 3 things without forcing meaning where it does not belong. First, let them teach you loyalty. Stay faithful to what God has shown you, even when your path feels quiet and misunderstood. Second, let them teach you vigilance. You do not need to become suspicious of everyone, but you do need to respect your discernment and stop calling every warning overthinking. Third, let them teach you rest. A guarded life is not a frantic life. You can be spiritually alert and emotionally peaceful at the same time. In fact, that combination is part of maturity. And that maturity is what keeps this conversation grounded. You are not being invited into fear. You are being invited into clearer awareness. When a dog responds strongly to you, comforts you unexpectedly, or alerts you in a moment that later proves significant, Let it become an occasion for prayer, not panic. Let it remind you that protection is often active around you, even when you cannot see the full picture. Let it remind you that loyalty still exists in a world that can feel unstable. Let it remind you that your path is not unguarded just because it is hard. As we move to the next animal, keep this thread in your hand because it will continue to matter. The chosen path is not only about signs that flatter you. It is about confirmations that train you. Dogs often train you in protection, loyalty, and spiritual alertness. They teach you that being gentle does not mean being unguarded, and being chosen does not mean being exposed without covering. Sometimes heaven confirms that truth not through a sermon, but through a pair of watchful eyes, a body that will not leave your side, and a moment that whispers in the language of creation, you are being accompanied more than you know. As we continue to explore the animals that can sense when someone is chosen by God, we come to the profound presence of cats. These creatures, with their quiet and calculating movements, offer us a lesson in discernment, stillness, and the subtlety of spiritual awareness. Unlike dogs, who are often seen as protectors and companions, cats tend to embody the roles of silent observers, ever watchful and deeply attuned to the hidden currents around them. The way a cat will sit still staring into space, seemingly lost in thought, is something that can feel unnerving to those who don't understand. But for the chosen, a cat's gaze is not just a quirk of its nature, it's an invitation to see what lies beneath the surface, to recognize the unseen and often unacknowledged. One of the things cats are known for is their ability to be still. Their moments of perfect calmness are often misunderstood as indifference, but for those who are attuned to their movements, it's clear that their stillness is a sign of deep awareness. Cats are not merely watching the world around them, they are sensing it. They pick up on energies, emotions, and even spiritual currents that humans often miss. This is why you might find a cat suddenly lingering at your feet when you feel uncertain or out of balance, or why a cat will refuse to leave your side when you are processing something deeply personal. Their attention is not arbitrary. In the spiritual realm, it can be seen as a form of guidance, an invitation to sit with your emotions and listen to the still small voice within. For the chosen, cats represent an important spiritual practice, learning to be still enough to discern the movements of God. In a world that constantly demands action, noise, and constant motion, cats remind you that not everything requires a response. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is to simply sit, listen, and wait. There are times when God's guidance comes not in the form of loud revelations or miraculous signs, but in the quiet stirrings of your spirit. And if you are constantly on the go, constantly seeking answers outside yourself, you may miss these subtler messages. A cat's gaze then becomes a reminder that stillness is not the absence of movement, it's a form of spiritual clarity. When you allow yourself to be still, you begin to tune into the deeper frequencies of life, and you start noticing the signs that have been present all along. This brings us to the deeper meaning behind a cat's enigmatic behavior. Cats are often drawn to spaces and moments where there is an emotional shift or where there is hidden truth that needs to be uncovered. It's not unusual to see a cat staring into a corner of the room, its eyes locked on something that is invisible to us. For the chosen, this is not just an oddity of animal behavior. It's an invitation to recognize that there are unseen forces at work around you. As a chosen person, you are often moving through life with a heightened sensitivity to the spiritual realm. There are things happening around you that others cannot see, energies at play that only the truly perceptive can understand. Cats, in their quiet observation, mirror this spiritual awareness. Their attention reminds you to remain vigilant to the spiritual currents around you, to keep your eyes open to the subtle shifts that may be occurring beneath the surface. And this brings us to the third lesson, that cats teach us the ability to recognize and honor the boundaries between worlds. Cats are often seen as creatures that walk between two realms, the physical and the spiritual. They seem to be equally at ease in the physical world, where they move gracefully and silently, and in the spiritual world, where they seem to possess an innate ability to sense and navigate the unseen. As a chosen one, you are called to walk in a similar way. You are called to be fully present in the physical world, while also being deeply attuned to the spiritual realm. Like the cat, you are called to move through both worlds with grace and discernment. This is not always easy, especially when the physical world demands your attention with its noise and distractions. But cats teach us that it is possible to maintain spiritual awareness even in the midst of the busyness of life. The key is learning to listen to the stillness within, to remain centered even when everything around you seems to be in motion. This ability to move between worlds also requires a deep sense of trust. Cats are famously independent creatures, and they do not give their loyalty lightly. Yet, when they do trust, they trust completely. They do not second-guess their instincts, and they do not hesitate to follow their own path. For the chosen, this is a crucial lesson. The path you walk may not always be understood by others, and you may not always receive the validation or approval that you desire. But like the cat, you must trust your own instincts, trust the calling that has been placed on your life, and move forward with quiet confidence. You are not called to be like everyone else, and that's okay. In fact, it is your uniqueness, your sensitivity, and your ability to discern the unseen that make you the perfect vessel for the work that God has entrusted to you. One of the most profound things about cats is their ability to see in the dark. They have an extraordinary capacity to navigate the world in low light, relying on a heightened sense of hearing and smell to compensate for the lack of vision. For the chosen, this ability to see in the dark is not just a physical trait, it's a spiritual one. The path of the chosen is often shrouded in uncertainty. There are times when the road ahead is unclear, when the answers seem hidden, and when the world around you feels dark. But just as the cat can move confidently in the dark, you too are equipped to navigate the unknown. Your spiritual senses, your intuition, your discernment, and your connection to the divine are sharper than you may realize. And when you trust in these senses, you will find that you can move through the darkness with confidence, knowing that the light will guide you when the time is right. In many ways, cats teach us the importance of being in tune with our surroundings while remaining detached from the distractions of the world. They are present, but they are not overwhelmed by the noise. They observe, but they do not become consumed by what they see. For the chosen, this balance is crucial. You are called to be fully present in your life, but you must also be able to detach from the chaos and the distractions that can cloud your spiritual vision. Cats remind you that you can observe the world around you without becoming entangled in it. You can engage with life without losing yourself in it. As we move forward, remember that cats are not just symbolic of stillness and watchfulness. They are also symbols of transformation. Just as a cat sheds its fur in the spring and emerges with a new coat, you too are constantly in a state of renewal. The path of the chosen is one of constant growth and change. It is about shedding the old, embracing the new, and emerging stronger than before. And, like the cat, you are being prepared for something greater. Every encounter with these animals, whether it is a dog, a cat, or another creature, is part of your spiritual formation. They are not random occurrences. They are divine lessons that guide you along your journey. So when you encounter a cat that stares at you with unblinking eyes, or when you notice one quietly following you through your day, remember that it is not just a passing moment. It is an invitation to go deeper, to see beyond the surface, and to trust in the unseen forces at work around you. The cat's gaze is a mirror to your own spiritual awareness. It invites you to be still, to listen, and to trust in the subtle guidance that comes from within. In the midst of the noise and distractions of life, let the cat's presence be a reminder that you are never truly alone. You are always being guided, always being watched over, and always being prepared for what comes next. Now that we have explored the stillness and spiritual awareness embodied by cats, we move into the world of crows. Crows are among the most intelligent and perceptive creatures on the planet. Their sharp minds, ability to solve complex problems, and uncanny memory make them unique among the bird kingdom. For the chosen crows represent a different layer of spiritual awareness, one that deals with discernment, warnings, and insight. Crows do not simply appear at random. They often arrive when you are facing a crossroads, a decision that requires deeper wisdom, or when there are spiritual shifts that demand your attention. Their presence is not just a random occurrence. It is a sign that something significant is about to unfold. The most powerful lesson crows teach us is the ability to see through illusion. In a world full of distractions and superficiality, crows have the remarkable ability to cut through the noise and discern the truth. They see what others do not, and they are not fooled by appearances. This is a crucial trait for the chosen, especially in times when you are faced with decisions that may appear straightforward on the surface, but are complicated beneath. The world around you can be full of false promises, distractions, and empty allure. But crows have a unique ability to see past the illusions and reveal the truth hidden in plain sight. This is why crows often appear during moments of spiritual decision-making, when you are being asked to go deeper to discern what is truly meant for you and to cut away the falsehoods that have clouded your judgment. One of the most fascinating things about crows is their ability to adapt and learn. They are known to use tools, recognize faces, and even mimic human speech. This adaptability and learning capacity make them symbols of wisdom and transformation. When a crow appears in your life, it may be signaling that you are in a period of growth, that you are being called to expand your understanding, and that you are being prepared for a new level of insight. The spiritual journey of the chosen often involves moving from ignorance to wisdom, from confusion to clarity, and crows embody that transformation. They are not afraid of change. In fact, they thrive on it. And as a chosen one, you too are being prepared for change, not just external change, but deep internal transformation that will expand your understanding of the world and your place in it. Crows also serve as messengers. In many cultures, they are seen as carriers of important information, often delivering warnings or messages from the spirit world. If a crow appears in your life, it may be urging you to pay attention to something you have overlooked, to take note of a subtle shift in your environment, or to prepare for a new direction. The crow's call is not just a noise. It is a signal that demands your attention. This is especially true if you feel the presence of a crow during moments of indecision or confusion. Their cawing serves as a reminder that clarity is available, but it requires your focus. The message is clear. Stop, listen, and pay attention to the spiritual currents moving around you. Just as crows are able to navigate complex landscapes, you too are being asked to navigate the complexities of your own spiritual journey. In some ways, crows can be seen as protectors as well. They are highly territorial, and they will fiercely defend their space and their flock. When a crow appears in your life, it may be signaling that you need to protect your own space, your energy, your boundaries, and your inner peace. The chosen path often requires you to be vigilant, not just against external threats, but against the internal ones that can erode your clarity and your focus. Crows remind you that part of your spiritual responsibility is to guard what is sacred within you. Just as a crow will defend its territory, you too must defend the sacred space of your heart, your mind, and your spirit. This involves setting boundaries, being mindful of what you allow into your life, and protecting yourself from negative influences that may seek to distract you from your purpose. Another important aspect of crows is their association with death and rebirth. While many people associate crows with ominous signs, their role in spiritual symbolism is more complex. In many cultures, crows are seen as guides to the afterlife, helping souls transition from one realm to another. For the chosen, crows can symbolize the death of the old and the birth of the new. This may refer to the end of a particular season in your life, the letting go of an old identity or a limiting belief, or the transformation of your spiritual self. Just as a crow sheds its feathers to make way for new growth, The chosen path often requires periods of spiritual shedding. These moments may feel uncomfortable or even painful, but they are necessary for the transformation that lies ahead. If a crow has appeared to you in recent days, take a moment to reflect on the season you are in. Are there old patterns, beliefs, or attachments that need to be released? Are you being called to shed a part of your old self to make room for the new? Crows can be the spiritual sign that it is time to let go, to clear the way for new growth and new possibilities. Just as the crow carries messages of change and transformation, so too are you being asked to embrace the shifts that are taking place in your life. The old must be cleared away for the new to take root. And the crow is a reminder that this process, though sometimes difficult, is essential for your growth. As we continue to reflect on the lessons of the crow, it is important to recognize that their presence is not just about warnings or transformations, it is also about power. Crows are incredibly powerful creatures, capable of surviving in harsh environments, adapting to new situations, and navigating complex landscapes. Their resilience and strength serve as a model for the chosen. You too are being called to recognize the power that lies within you, to tap into your own spiritual strength, and to trust in your ability to overcome obstacles. Like the crow, you have the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow stronger in the face of adversity. The challenges you encounter on the chosen path are not meant to defeat you, but to shape you into someone who is spiritually strong, resilient, and able to rise above the circumstances. The next time a crow crosses your path, take a moment to reflect on the message it brings. What is it urging you to see more clearly? What decisions are you facing that require deeper discernment? What areas of your life need protection, and where do you need to guard your boundaries? The crow's presence is not random. It is a divine invitation to step into your power, to trust in your transformation, and to embrace the changes that are unfolding in your life. As the chosen, you are being prepared for greatness, and the crow is a powerful reminder that you are capable of navigating the complexities of your spiritual journey with wisdom, resilience, and clarity. As we shift from the powerful and discerning presence of crows to the ethereal world of butterflies, we encounter a creature that symbolizes the essence of transformation and renewal. Butterflies are universally known for their metamorphosis, transitioning from a humble caterpillar into a creature of light and beauty. For the chosen, butterflies serve as living metaphors for spiritual growth and change. Their presence in your life is not just a sign of something beautiful about to unfold. It's a confirmation that the process of transformation, which often feels painful or uncertain, is taking place beneath the surface, preparing you for something greater. One of the most profound lessons that butterflies teach us is the importance of embracing change. In the natural world, a butterfly's metamorphosis is a process of intense growth involving stages of vulnerability, isolation, and discomfort. The caterpillar must first build a chrysalis, retreating into itself before it can emerge as a completely transformed being. This process mirrors the spiritual journey of the chosen, where you too must go through periods of inner work, healing, and reflection before you can emerge into the fullness of your calling. Like the butterfly, you may find yourself in seasons of transition times when you are no longer who you were, but you are not yet fully who you are becoming. These seasons can be disorienting, filled with uncertainty and discomfort. But just as the butterfly's transformation is a necessary part of its development, so too are these times of spiritual transition crucial for your growth. When a butterfly appears to you, whether it flutters near you in a garden or lands softly on your shoulder, it serves as a gentle reminder that change is both inevitable and beautiful. You are being invited to surrender to the process of transformation and trust that the pain and uncertainty you may feel are simply part of the journey. You may have already experienced seasons of spiritual death, moments when you felt as if parts of yourself were being stripped away. But just as the caterpillar must shed its skin in order to grow, you too must let go of old habits, beliefs, and attachments in order to make space for the new. The butterfly's presence is an encouragement to release the fear of change and embrace the unknown, knowing that something beautiful and purposeful is on the other side of the struggle. Another important aspect of the butterfly's symbolism is its connection to the concept of rebirth. In many cultures, butterflies are seen as symbols of the soul's journey, representing the cycles of life, death, and resurrection. For the chosen, this means that even in the most difficult seasons, there is always the potential for new beginnings. The seasons of death and decay that you experience are not permanent. They are simply part of the natural rhythm of life. Just as the butterfly emerges from its cocoon with new wings and new purpose, you too will emerge from your struggles with a deeper sense of clarity and strength. The caterpillar must first undergo its transformation in secret, hidden from the world, before it can spread its wings and soar. In the same way, your spiritual growth often happens in quiet, unseen moments. It is only when you emerge from your time of transition that you will be able to see how far you have come and how much you have grown. Butterflies also represent the delicate balance between fragility and strength. Their wings are fragile, and yet they are capable of flying long distances, navigating treacherous winds, and finding their way through the most challenging environments. This duality is a powerful reminder for the chosen that, while you may feel vulnerable at times, you are also incredibly resilient. Your strength lies not in your ability to avoid difficulty, but in your ability to navigate it with grace, knowing that you are being carried by something larger than yourself. Just as the butterfly is guided by the wind, you too are guided by the hand of God, even in your most fragile moments. The chosen path requires you to embrace your vulnerability, not as a weakness, but as an opportunity for growth and transformation. The butterfly's journey from caterpillar to adult is a process of both internal and external change. The caterpillar does not simply change its form, it also undergoes a complete shift in its way of being. Its body must adapt to its new life as a flying creature, and its perspective of the world is transformed. This transformation reflects the spiritual shifts that occur when you are chosen. As you step into your purpose, your perspective on life changes. You begin to see the world through new eyes, and your understanding of yourself, your relationships, and your place in the world deepens. The butterfly reminds you that transformation is not just about becoming something different on the outside. It's about a fundamental shift in how you perceive and experience life. When you encounter a butterfly, take a moment to reflect on the areas of your life that are undergoing transformation. What parts of yourself are being called to change? What beliefs, behaviors, or attachments are no longer serving you? Butterflies encourage you to embrace the process of change, even if it feels uncomfortable. They remind you that the discomfort of growth is temporary, and the rewards of transformation are profound. Just as the butterfly is both delicate and strong, you too are being called to embrace your vulnerability and your strength, knowing that both are necessary for the spiritual journey ahead. For the chosen, butterflies are not just a symbol of personal transformation, they are also a sign of divine timing. Just as the butterfly emerges from its cocoon at the right moment, so too will you experience the timing of God's plans for your life. The seasons of waiting, of cocooning, are not wasted. They are times of preparation, times when you are being shaped and refined for the work that lies ahead. When the time is right, you will emerge with wings of purpose, ready to fly into the next chapter of your life. The butterfly's appearance serves as a reminder that God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for what is to come, even if you cannot yet see it. As you walk the path of the chosen, allow the butterfly to be a constant reminder of your own transformation. Embrace the changes that are taking place within you, even when they are uncomfortable. Trust in the process of growth, knowing that each stage of your journey is leading you to greater clarity, strength, and purpose. The butterfly does not rush its transformation. It allows it to unfold naturally, step by step. In the same way, trust that God is guiding you through each step of your spiritual journey, even when you cannot see the full picture. In moments of uncertainty or fear, look to the butterfly as a symbol of hope. It reminds you that transformation is not only possible, but it is inevitable. You are being prepared for something greater, something beautiful, something that will bring you closer to the person you are meant to be. The chosen path is one of constant growth, and just as the butterfly emerges from its cocoon with wings of freedom, so too will you emerge from your struggles with a renewed sense of purpose and direction. When you see a butterfly, let it be a reminder that the process of transformation is not only natural, but it is also sacred. Just as the butterfly must go through each stage of its metamorphosis to become its true self, you too must embrace each phase of your spiritual journey, trusting that God is with you in every moment, guiding you toward the fullness of your purpose. As we shift from the delicate transformation embodied by butterflies, we move into the majestic, watchful presence of owls. Owls are often regarded as creatures of mystery, wisdom, and insight. Their sharp vision, especially in low light, symbolizes the ability to see through the darkness, to discern hidden truths, and to navigate the spiritual realm with clarity. For the chosen owls offer a profound lesson in spiritual perception, the importance of trusting your inner sight and how to maintain a clear vision even when the world around you seems clouded or uncertain. The first powerful lesson that owls offer is their ability to see in the dark. This may seem literal at first, as owls are known for their excellent night vision. But on a deeper spiritual level, this quality symbolizes the ability to see in times of uncertainty, to discern the truth when everything else is obscured. For the chosen, this ability is crucial. The journey you are on is not always clear. There are times when God's purpose for you seems hidden, when your path feels uncertain, and when you are unsure of which direction to take. These moments of darkness can be disorienting, but the owl reminds you that you are equipped with the spiritual vision to navigate through them. Just as an owl can see with incredible clarity in the dark, you too can trust that God has given you the ability to discern the truth in situations where others may be blind. This is especially important because the path of the chosen is rarely illuminated with a constant bright light. Instead, it is often revealed step by step, piece by piece, with moments of clarity interspersed with periods of doubt and uncertainty. The owl's ability to see in the dark is a reminder that these moments of confusion and fear are not signs that you are lost or abandoned. They are simply part of the process. God is guiding you through the darkness, and you are equipped to see what others cannot. Your spiritual sight is being sharpened, and just as the owl trusts its ability to navigate the night, so too can you trust your ability to discern the next step, even when the full picture is not yet visible. Owls also teach us about patience and timing. Unlike many other birds, owls are not constantly in motion. They are patient hunters, waiting silently for the right moment to act. This patience is a spiritual lesson for the chosen. In a world that encourages constant action and immediate results, owls show us the power of stillness and waiting for the right timing. Just as an owl waits for the perfect opportunity to swoop down on its prey, you too are called to wait for God's timing in your life. The chosen path is not about rushing or forcing things to happen. It is about waiting with intention, trusting that the right opportunities and the right moments will come in due time. Owls remind you that sometimes the most powerful actions are those that are taken with careful consideration and in alignment with divine timing. This leads us to the owl's role as a symbol of wisdom. Owls are often associated with wisdom, knowledge, and insight because of their ability to see things that others cannot. They have a unique perspective on the world, one that is shaped by their sharp vision and their ability to perceive details that others miss. For the chosen, this is a reminder that you are not called to rely on surface-level understanding or superficial judgments. You are being called to cultivate deep wisdom, to see beyond appearances, and to trust in the spiritual insights that God is providing. The chosen path often requires you to go deeper, to look beyond the obvious, and to trust the wisdom that God has placed within you. The owl, in all its quiet grace, embodies the kind of wisdom that comes from stillness, patience, and a willingness to see the truth, no matter how hidden it may be. There is also a strong connection between owls and the ability to see through deception. In many cultures, owls are seen as creatures that can pierce the veil of illusion, revealing the truth behind appearances. For the chosen, this is an important reminder. You are living in a world filled with distractions, illusions, and false narratives. It can be easy to become caught up in the noise, to believe in things that are not true, or to follow paths that are not aligned with your purpose. But just as an owl can see clearly through the darkness and spot what others cannot, you too are being given the ability to discern truth from falsehood. This is particularly important in moments of spiritual confusion when the right path may not be immediately clear. The owl's presence in your life is a reminder to trust your inner vision and to seek clarity even when the world around you is clouded by doubt, fear, or deception. The owl's connection to wisdom also extends to the ability to see with a deeper sense of intuition. While many creatures rely on their physical senses to navigate the world, owls are known for their heightened intuitive abilities. They can sense the presence of prey in the dark, navigate through complex environments, and make decisions based on their instincts. For the chosen, this is a powerful reminder that you are called to rely not just on your intellectual understanding, but on your spiritual intuition as well. Your intuition is a gift from God, and it is a tool that can guide you through difficult decisions, complex situations, and moments of uncertainty. The owl teaches you to trust your intuition, to listen to the quiet promptings of your spirit, and to follow the guidance that comes from within. Owls also embody the concept of transformation. While they are often associated with wisdom and insight, they are also symbols of change. In many cultures, the owl is seen as a messenger of transformation, ushering in new phases of life, new understandings, and new possibilities. For the chosen, this is a reminder that the journey you are on is one of constant growth and transformation. Just as the owl transforms from a young, inexperienced bird into a master of the night, so too are you being transformed through your experiences, your challenges, and your victories. The chosen path requires you to embrace change, to let go of old ways of thinking and being, and to open yourself to the new. The owl serves as a guide through this transformation, teaching you to trust in the process and to have faith that each stage of your journey is preparing you for something greater. As we reflect on the lessons of the owl, it is important to consider how their presence in your life may manifest. Owls may appear to you in dreams during moments of contemplation or even in the physical world. When they do take a moment to reflect on the message they bring, are there areas of your life where you need to trust your inner vision? Are you being called to wait for divine timing rather than rushing ahead? Are there deceptions or illusions that need to be pierced so that you can see the truth? The owl's presence is a reminder that you are being given the spiritual vision to see what others cannot, the wisdom to navigate your path with clarity, and the strength to transform into the person you are called to be. The next time you see an owl, whether in person or in a moment of spiritual reflection, remember that you are being invited to trust your inner sight, to embrace the process of transformation, and to rely on God's timing in all things. Just as the owl moves silently through the night, you too are being called to move with wisdom, grace, and discernment. The path of the chosen is not always clear, but with the guidance of the owl, you will find the clarity you need to navigate the darkness and emerge into the light. As we continue our journey through the animal kingdom and the lessons they offer to the chosen, we now turn to two creatures that embody strength, grace, and the powerful connection between spirit and nature, horses and deer. Both of these animals share an innate ability to represent dual aspects of the chosen path: noble authority and gentle peace, and they offer us a unique perspective on the balance between power and gentleness, both of which are required to walk the chosen path with grace and integrity. Horses have long been symbols of power, freedom, and spiritual strength. In many cultures, they represent the ability to move through life with speed, clarity, and direction. For the chosen, horses teach us the value of purpose and determination. When a horse is running, there is no hesitation, no second guessing. There is only the full expression of its power and its movement toward its goal. In the same way, the chosen are called to move forward with confidence and purpose, not allowing doubts or distractions to slow them down. The power of the horse is not just in its physical strength, but in its unyielding sense of direction and the trust it places in its rider. If you've ever been around a horse, you've likely noticed the deep connection they have with their riders. Horses are incredibly intuitive creatures, able to sense their rider's emotions, energy, and even their level of trust. A horse's ability to mirror the emotional state of its rider is a powerful spiritual lesson for the chosen. Just as a horse can sense the fear, doubt, or confidence in its rider, so too are you being asked to cultivate an inner strength and confidence that aligns with the purpose God has placed in your life. If you find yourself in a season of uncertainty or doubt, the presence of a horse can serve as a reminder that you have the strength and the spiritual power to move forward, to trust the path ahead, and to pursue your calling without hesitation. Horses also teach us the importance of freedom and release. A horse that is allowed to run free in an open field experiences a sense of joy and release that can only come from being fully in tune with its surroundings and its own body. The chosen are often burdened with responsibility and the weight of others' expectations, but horses remind us that true freedom comes from surrender. In order to fulfill your purpose, you must first learn to release the things that weigh you down, whether they are past hurts, negative beliefs, or the expectations placed on you by others. Just as a horse runs with full abandon when it is unburdened, so too must you learn to surrender to God's timing and allow yourself to be guided in the direction you are meant to go. Horses also represent the balance between strength and gentleness. While they are capable of running at incredible speeds and carrying heavy loads, they are also gentle and sensitive creatures. They form deep bonds with their riders and are known for their empathy and understanding. For the chosen, this is a reminder that true strength is not about exerting power over others, but about using your strength in service to others. The chosen path requires you to balance your inner power with humility, to be both strong and gentle in your interactions with the world. The horse teaches you that there is great power in gentleness, that the strongest among us are often those who are able to remain calm, compassionate, and present, even in the face of challenges. On the other hand, deer embody a different but equally important aspect of the chosen path, the balance between gentleness and resilience. Deer are known for their grace, beauty, and serenity, yet they are also incredibly resilient creatures. In the face of danger, they are quick to flee, using their agility and speed to escape predators. But what makes them truly remarkable is their ability to survive in environments that are harsh and unforgiving. Deer are a symbol of the quiet strength that is found in gentleness. They do not confront the world with aggression, but they face challenges with grace, agility, and adaptability. The deer's ability to move through dense forests and navigate challenging terrain is a powerful metaphor for the spiritual journey of the chosen. The path ahead is not always easy, and there will be times when you must navigate through difficult circumstances. But just as the deer gracefully maneuvers through the woods, you too are being called to move with grace, trusting that you are being guided through the obstacles and challenges that lie ahead. There will be moments when the path feels uncertain, when the way forward is unclear, but the deer teaches you that even in those moments, you can move forward with purpose and poise, trusting that you are being led in the right direction. Deer also represent the importance of sensitivity and intuition. They are incredibly aware of their surroundings and are highly attuned to the subtle shifts in their environment. Their ability to detect danger from a distance and move quickly to avoid it is a testament to their heightened senses. For the chosen, this is a reminder that you too are being called to cultivate your spiritual sensitivity, to be attuned to the subtle signs, whispers, and guidance that come from God. The chosen path is often one of discernment, and the deer teaches you that in order to walk this path with clarity, you must be deeply connected to your intuition and your spiritual senses. Another lesson the deer offers is the importance of vulnerability. Despite their grace and agility, deer are vulnerable creatures. They do not have the physical strength to fight off predators, so they rely on their speed and sensitivity to stay safe. This vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength that allows them to remain alert and aware of their surroundings. For the chosen, the deer's vulnerability reminds you that it is okay to acknowledge your own weaknesses and sensitivities. In fact, these vulnerabilities are often the very things that allow you to connect more deeply with others, to empathize with those who are suffering, and to offer your support in meaningful ways. The chosen path is not about pretending to be invincible. It is about embracing your vulnerabilities and using them as a source of strength. One of the most profound lessons from both horses and deer is the idea of moving with purpose while remaining deeply connected to your surroundings. Horses teach you to move with direction and confidence, to trust your inner strength and the path ahead. Deer teach you to remain sensitive to the spiritual currents around you, to move with grace and to trust your intuition. Together, these animals offer a powerful combination of strength, gentleness, resilience, and sensitivity. The chosen path requires all of these qualities, and as you walk it, you will find that you are being called to balance your inner power with your sensitivity to the world around you. Horses and deer also teach us the importance of both connection and independence. While horses are deeply connected to their riders, they are also independent creatures, able to run free and make their own decisions. Deer too live in herds, but are often solitary in their movements, trusting their instincts to guide them. For the chosen, this represents the balance between interdependence and autonomy. While you are called to work alongside others, to build communities, and to serve those around you, you are also called to honor your own spiritual autonomy. You must learn to listen to your own inner guidance, to trust your intuition, and to move with purpose even when you stand alone. As you continue on the chosen path, remember the lessons of the horse and the deer. Let the horse's strength and confidence remind you to move forward with purpose and direction. Let the deer's grace and resilience teach you to navigate life's challenges with sensitivity, intuition, and a deep sense of inner strength. These animals are not just symbols, they are living reminders of the qualities you are called to cultivate as you walk the path of the chosen. Trust that as you embrace these lessons, you will become more aligned with your purpose and more deeply connected to the divine guidance that is always with you.